Glittery butterfly.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hangout with Glittery Butterflies Aplenty. It's Kristi here, and I am so pleased. Oh, Lonely Wolf was here briefly, and I hope he rejoins us, because then we'll have a full house for the first time ever.
No.
No. You had it one time on a day that
Oh, that's
one of
right.
the days was Steve, and Steve only had what, 5 or 6?
That day, that's
He
right.
had like an 8 at most. If the December one also we had a full house.
Right. Yes. And I just want to say also thanks to Steve because he shouted out this hangout during his Ask Away the other night. So, of course,
I made sure of that.
Yes, thanks for that. I saw you in the chat. And also want to give a special welcome to first-time guest Bruce, who's joining us. He's a longtime supporter of the channel, but first-time guest. So, yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller kind of thing. And we were having a conversation about serious European geopolitical states before, so I just want to let that continue. So I think you were going to bring up a point, Leto, and you were, we were talking about basically the current state of far-right activism in Poland, and it's the worrying rise of far-right, people's voting.
I didn't have any point, Kristi, besides people who say Nazis were socialist because it was in the name. And I said I was a glittery butterfly because I say so. So, yeah, it's the same logic.
Yeah, that's the same logic as saying that North Korea is a democracy because it's a People's Democratic
and a republic.
And a republic, right? Because it says it in the name, so it must be.
Or Carl Benjamin being a classical liberal and thus being on the left because he's against the authoritative left.
Yeah, all kinds of nonsense with language.
Yeah. Can we not talk about that twat?
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Which one? Which twat?
There's a lot of them. Let's not talk about classical liberals at all. I agree.
Yeah. Sounds good with me. So, well, welcome everyone. And I know, Mariana, there was something that you wanted to mention to the viewers. And also, if you want to send me the link to the change.org petition, I can put that in the description box tomorrow, probably, because I've got some plans for tonight. But go ahead and talk a bit about the situation and what you'd like people to do to help fix it.
So, in Bavaria, there will be there's a proposed new law concerning the involuntary commitment of the mentally ill. It's called the Psychisch Krankenschutzgesetz. Basically, a law for the protection of the psychically ill. A nice euphemism if there was one. And the first part of the law is actually pretty good, because it concerns things like the improvement of service and the increasing of the capacity of the crisis hotline. But the second part of the law concerns the conditions how people can be involuntarily committed and how they can be treated while they are involuntarily committed. The German term for that is Unterbringung, another nice euphemism. And this part of the law is copied 100% from the law about the Maßregelvollzug, which is the treatment of prisoners who are mentally ill, who are then treated at a forensic psychiatric unit. And the second, so basically they want to treat all mentally ill people who have to be involuntarily committed exactly the same as criminals. And another big part of this law is a new database where all the data of all people who were involuntarily committed have to be stored for 5 years. And the police has full access to this database, which is a huge breach of personality rights. So if you are in Bavaria, there's various petitions going around, and I think Kristi will post it in the description box tomorrow.
Yep.
And so if you can sign this thing, and if you are in Bavaria and there might be a Bürgerbegehren or a Bürgerentscheid, please support that as well.
Yeah, and if you don't live there yourself, you can still sign it, and also share it on social media for people around the world you might know in Bavaria who could sign it.
Yeah, I just did. Some random geek, I don't know who it was, posted the link on the inside chat.
Yeah, there's 80,000 signatures for it right now, and it needs to get to like 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so please go and check that out. You can probably hear not only traffic but thunder in the background now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thor's angry.
Yeah. So what else is going on with you guys? Who's got something interesting to say? Because we didn't really prep too much beforehand, and I don't want to put Bruce under pressure by like, hey Bruce, why don't you talk? I'd rather have him join when he has something to say. I don't want to call on you like it's a seminar. So
you can probably tell I'm symptomatic at the moment. So do you want to wait a while? Quite a bit.
You can jump in anytime you want and say anything you want. It's okay.
Manage my symptoms, then I could just delay for a bit till my drug takes effect.
Oh, well, it's what you're comfortable with in terms of your symptoms. That's fine.
Just wait for 10 minutes, that'd be fine.
Yeah, of course. So, we need to have the fashion show. So, Jonathan, I'll lock the screen on you, and you want to take our viewers through this week's exciting ensemble you've created?
Is now not all the items that I'm wearing go together. But first of all, is my favorite hat. One of my favorite hats. This is the first one I bought from the hat maker that made the R2-D2 Bullard and made the Bloodborne hat that I showed off last month, or the Captain America crush cap and steampunk goggles. This is a fez styled after the Star Wars character Boba Fett, and so thus this is the Boba Fez. I've gotten many reactions to this. Some people recognize it right away. Oh, that's a Boba Fett fez. That's so awesome. Yes, it's the Boba Fez. The Boba Fez. That is awesome. But some people is like they see it and they like. Don't say anything. But then later on, I was at a convention, they recognize who it is, and they're like, oh my God, I just recognized what that is. Can I take a picture? And so, yeah. But other times, other people have asked, are you a Shriner? And I go, I could join. Why not? I got this. I got a red lounge suit jacket as well. I could join. But no, I'm not a Shriner. But the most interesting one I got one time was on the bus. Are you Middle Eastern? No, I'm not. The hat is Turkish. It's Ottoman Empire, so it's kind of close and stuff like that. So anyway, that's my story of the Boba Fez. Oh wait, quickly. I was at a convention, and Steve Bloom, who's the voice of Wolverine and voiced a lot of different characters in video games and anime and stuff like that. If people who knows voice acting know Steve Bloom. I was wearing this. He saw that. It was like, whoa. Can I take a picture of you? And so I enjoyed that. I asked him to sign my copy of a DVD out to Boba Fez, and he got a kick out of that. So anyway, now to the rest of the suit, so I won't take up too much time.
Wait a second. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. So do you drive a small, speeder? Like a little tiny one?
No, I don't. I don't have a driver's license, actually. But maybe I should. At least a little toy car. Why not? And get a little horn. Beep, beep.
No, like a little Star Wars speeder.
Yeah. Oh! No, I don't.
Maybe you could find a go-kart place where they have a Star Wars speeder as one of the go-karts and sit in it and have your picture taken.
Yes, I should have my picture taken at the very least. All right, now to my favorite t-shirt that I bought over a year and a half ago. I saw this on Facebook, and Facebook knows that I will like this, so I said, yes, I will buy that. And I buy this to troll my younger brother, as it is Wonder Woman punching Trump. I always I always wonder what led to this altercation. Is it because of this is Wonder Woman's reaction to him withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Peace Agreement, or was he being too handsy?
Right. That was my impression.
Yes, that's my impression too. I mean, he can't help himself. He's just attracted to beauty. He's like has magnetism to it. But anyway, so there's that.
I think he thinks he's Aries, and so does she.
Yeah, we can go with that. So anyway, yes,
He's
don't die. Wear this
himself with the molestation and the golden rain.
Yeah, the golden showers.
I recommend people if they Google golden showers, have safe search on if you're at work. Anyway, I wear this to troll my younger brother because my younger brother voted for Trump and it's a Gamergator, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, now to the leggings, which goes with the t-shirt. These are Wonder Woman leggings.
Very nice.
Yes, and I have been asked before, could I like wear these for like Captain America? Yeah, I could, and probably have accidentally, and people have probably like guessed that's this Captain America. So I love it. It's a little too tight for me, so I think I kind of like stretched the spandex a little bit around the waist. But oh well. Oh, but finally, socks. Sailor Moon. Because well, I'm that kind of guy, and I bought a set of these for my stepsister as well. Okay.
So many themed, a melange of images and themes to work with there.
You gotta get over this shy and retiring attitude of yours.
You need to come out of your shell.
Yes, won't be far in this world. That's cool.
How are you, Tom?
Oh, me.
Yeah, you.
And what are you wearing today?
Well, actually, if I took my pants off, I could have. I'm wearing very thin, long underwear that form fit, so I could actually pretend I had leggings too. But that would be.
Those are Wisconsin leggings. Wisconsin leggings.
Yeah, well, they're probably as thinner than great geeks are, but
you guys would go over well in the court of Queen Elizabeth, who was known to admire a man's shapely calf.
Yeah, well, mine were shapelier a couple decades ago, but nonetheless. Oh, what I was going to say is that I'm so used to answering a question, "How you doing?" This winter with it's just the winter is just dragging on. It's not getting anywhere. I'm so it snowed. We had a blizzard a week and a half ago, and it's horrible. Problem is, in the last couple of days, it's warmed up to mid 60s. It's not terrific, but the sun is out. My Adirondack chair is finally free of the ice. I sat in the sun before the hangout this morning on my Adirondack chair, just leaning back and enjoying the rays. And it's going to be the lows for the next week are going to be where the highs were a couple of weeks ago. So I'm reasonably happy. It's coming. We might actually have a summer yet.
And I see Bruce is bathed in the sunlight where he is.
Yeah.
It's actually started raining now.
Of course it did.
Yeah, it's actually pouring down now. What was it like before you commented on the weather, Christy? Now, it's all angry all over the place here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you don't like the weather in Britain, just stick around.
Yeah.
I went to visit Colchester after I come back from Germany, and when I arrived at the train station, I called a taxi because it was late at night, and they had this screen up of like weather. I might have told this story before, but anyway, and it's just done in pictograms. So you'll have like light clouds and dark clouds, and raindrops and lightning and sun, and one day it was like cloud and a sun, and the next day it was like a darker cloud and a rain and sun, and then one day it was just like a cloud and rain and lightning and a sun. It was like weather. It's just weather that day. Prepare for everything.
So basically Scotland.
Yes. Well, when I lived in the UK, there was a great night where I used to watch for a while Newsnight when Jeremy Paxman was still on. He's, was a cranky old man pretty much, I think, all of his life. but this would have been in the early 2000s, and they've briefly, instead of doing the currency markets, they tried to do weather forecasts on Newsnight, which it had always been like this highbrow, sort of like they do the currency markets and what the various stock markets had done. And Paxman was just not impressed with this weather change. And so it was April, and they were doing the forecast, and they put up the map, and he went, tomorrow, rain, wind, blustery weather. It's April. What do you expect? What's his weather forecast? And then they stopped doing the weather, and they went back to doing it the way they did before. So, yeah.
Here in Seattle, you can tell when someone's in Seattle when they know what the term sunbreak means.
What's a sunbreak?
Oh, that's when it's a cloudy and overcast day for the majority of the day, but then there's like a opening in the clouds, and that's where the sun goes through and stuff like that. So yeah, and if you live in a climate with a lot of cloudy days, as Seattle has 228 cloudy days out of the year, which is why there's a lot of problems of people with sad seasonal aerial depression as well. Then yes, in Seattle we get a lot of sun breaks, and we occasionally hear that on the weather forecast. There'll be occasional sun breaks.
Wow, that's what I was going to ask. When it's part of the weather forecast, then it's definitely.
Yeah. And I'll quickly mention from the chat, earlier ago, the Lonely Wolf 1980, who said he has audio and camera problems, which is why he's not joining the chat. He can join in and fill up this and type in the group chat. Why not pressure him that way? But he has said that my shirt is highly offensive. Why couldn't Catwoman attack Trump?
A horrible movie.
That would be
the Razzies. I think Catwoman won a few Razzies that year.
Both of them could do it though. But anyway, speaking of weather, Longwood says, "Can nature hurry up and swap the hemisphere climates? I'm still waiting for some cold weather in this upside down hemisphere."
Yeah, I'd be happy for that. I'm happy for you guys to get the autumn weather and for us to get the late spring, early summer weather. So bring it on. I'm with you.
Wait, was that Lonely saying that?
Yeah,
that was Lonely saying that in
the I have a couple of friends. Well, we all have friends in New Zealand, and I was complaining about this dragging on of winter into the spring, and he was saying, "Well, yeah, but you got summer coming. It's crappy weather, cold weather in New Zealand. We're going into winter."
Mm-hmm. And then someone in the live chat named by that creepy fellow said, "Yeah, in Georgia, the weather can flip flop between 30 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's spring for you as well."
Yeah, quite. So Tim, how about you? What's up?
It's a sunny day today, at least. I think it's pretty warm. It's like 10 degrees, but as I said earlier before we went on the air, and snow is gone. It's been gone for a long time actually, so that's good for us. East Coast here of Canada.
Are you starting to get things flowering, or are you still a couple weeks away from daffodils and stuff?
Yeah, probably. I've started to see some bugs around my house, so I think they're awake for sure.
Yeah.
But the trees haven't started to sprout their leaves, and any of my plants haven't come up out of the ground yet around my house. What's going on here? We're kind of debating a pipeline from Alberta to BC called the Trans Mountain, and it was actually one of the ones that was approved when Trudeau came into power. There was actually 3 or 4 on the table, and then they canceled a bunch of them. And this is basically one of the 2 that was put through. But the BC government, it changed. It went from being a liberal to what was called up here the New Democratic Party, which is a lot more left wing than sorry, pardon me. It's a lot more. It's a lot more to the left than a lot of other parties in Canada. So they formed an alliance with another left party in BC, and so they're trying to block the pipeline now from going through.
All right. Have contracts been signed? Will it be pretty messy?
I think so, but it's kind of ironic because the government of the other province is actually the same party, but they're, I think, a little bit more to the right than this other version in BC, because BC is kind of more of a, it's like, I guess, like Washington, like Seattle, kind of. It's a lefty place, more they think more about the environment than other places do, you know, more than where I'm from, at least. So that's why they're having trouble now. And the government in Ottawa is trying to come up with a solution, because it's actually within their prerogative to make sure this goes through, because it's in the interest of the nation, as they say usually.
Oh, right. So wait, there's like multiple levels here at work. So you've got what? So is that another province can have a bit of a say on what happens inside BC? Is that, am I understanding that
I
correctly?
think you were saying Ottawa.
Yeah,
right,
Ottawa.
But okay.
Yeah. I guess in other words,
national government.
Yeah, national government. Yeah, they are, according to our constitution, have the power to make sure it goes through. Like, they have the final say.
Kind of like an eminent domain, like it's in the good of the country. So we're just going to declare this a thing.
Yeah, it goes through 2 provinces, because the oil's in Alberta, in I think in around the city of Fort McMurray. Then it goes to I guess it would go to Vancouver and then head to Asia, because we want to send our oil not just to the US anymore. That's sort of the idea behind this. And it gets a lot more, I think, attention now because of what's happening with NAFTA and with Trump.
Right.
Yeah. So it's more of a priority, and I think the Trudeau government sees it as sort of an election issue, because they're trying to repair their standing in Alberta, which ironically was kind of damaged by his father when he was in power way back in the 70s and 80s, and even the 60s as well. So I think there's sort of like a personal thing with Trudeau there as well, to sort of make things right with Alberta, so they will like his party again, because they tend to vote conservative most of the time. But he's also hurting himself in BC at the same time. But they're so strong in BC, maybe it's like a calculation. It'll even out in the end.
Political expedience.
Yeah.
Like, we can take the hit here. We get the pluses on this side. Right. And what do you think was going to happen?
I think the pipeline will go through eventually, because, like I said, they canceled the other ones. There's actually one that's going to end up actually where I live in this city, because there's a big refinery here for gas, and it would be sent, I guess, to the US and down into like Africa, perhaps. I think what they're trying to do is sort of, okay, they're like, we have done the environment good by, we canceled these other ones, so this is the one that we really need to get the oil to China, because they really need it for their manufacturing. So that's sort of the argument that they're going to make. And this wasn't a problem until like 6 months ago, when this election happened, and it was very close. It was, I think, they only won the election by like 1 seat, and they had to form an alliance with this other left party that I mentioned earlier, form the government. And then the party that lost was the same party as Trudeau, so they had like an understanding. So that's what complicated it. That this new government in BC has basically derailed the process, and yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah.
A question from the live chat from Anti-Hero Broadcast, and I believe this is a good faith question. Is the pipeline a good or thing or a bad thing? Which is maybe a complicated answer.
What's your opinion, Tim?
It's a hard one, because, you know, I really care about the environment, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like it's needed because of what's happening with Trump right now, and we are far too dependent on the U.S. market for you know, our well-being. And I think getting that oil out to China would be a big boost to avoid certain problems that we might have if NAFTA gets taken down. Because right now they're trying to renegotiate NAFTA, like Mexico, U.S. and Canada, but I don't think it's going too well. And Mexico's going to have a presidential election in June, or I think in July. And the guy who's going to win is like a really left-wing candidate, and he wants nothing to do with it apparently. So, or he wants to keep it the way it is, and Trump doesn't definitely want that. So, and they told them that, you have until July of 2018 to get this done, because if we have this election and we can't be doing this when the campaign's going on because it's not proper, and that guy's he's going to win probably. So they had a year and a half, and they didn't get it done. So I'm not sure what to say to them at this point. To the Trump administration, I mean, that is.
Right. Yeah, it's the balance of, like you said, there's a national interest there for Canada's long-term economic health, because I think you've pointed out here before that what you have in Canada for your resources are like trees and oil, and they're natural resources. You don't. Yeah. It's a country that exports raw materials, not a country that's known for exporting, assembled materials.
Well, I've seen our economy is very diverse. Like we have every natural resource under the sun, like uranium as well and stuff like that, and like diamonds. Actually, I didn't know we had diamonds until recently. It's like way up north. Oh. And metal, I think of. And there's a pretty strong tech sector. There's manufacturing here. Like there's like a lot of like auto sector in like Ontario, and other places. We're always trying to protect that, and then we actually have a pretty robust weapons sector, like a defense sector that I didn't really know was so big. You might have heard about us selling weapons to like Saudi Arabia recently.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not just. They try to call them Jeeps, but they're actually what they are. They're called a light armor vehicle, or a LAV. And they can actually mount up to a 105 millimeter cannon, which is actually pretty big even for a tank gun. Yes. And these are even like really tanks in a way, because they have like 8 wheels, and they're more for carrying troops than anything else. So we're actually giving weapons to. They're probably going to use against like, the people and that they're like maybe not in Syria, but like in
Yemen.
Yes, Yemen, yeah, where they're actually have their troops actually engaged in a war with the people in the north of the country. I forgot the name of the group that it is, but so it's an H, I believe, but the Hormuz or something like that, I think it's called. So I'm a bit worried about that as well.
All right. Well, okay. So I'm just going to move on if that's okay, because I was going to ask Leto next how life is with you. You said you were, things weren't great, but hopefully being in the chat is cheered you up a little bit.
No, I'm cheery. I'm just
it's hot.
Yeah, I'm tired, and I went to bed at 8:30 yesterday night. I was exhausted, and I woke up at 1:30
this afternoon.
No,
in the morning.
Last night.
Okay.
And I went back to bed at 7, I think. And slept 1 hour and a half. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. Em just wrote something in the chat of the Hangout that makes me laugh. Thank you, Em.
That's all our light, cheery topics that are.
No, but I was. It seems like every country has its own shit show these days. So.
Yeah, I think there's always something to complain about, but it seems like now we're complaining about like a lot of really scary things. And maybe it's just that in the past when, we didn't think about as much, or maybe in retrospect, because we lived through it, it didn't seem as bad at the time. But there's a lot of reasons to be stressed about things that are happening in the world these days.
Well, we had sane presidents, at least, or relatively sane presidents.
Yeah.
At the time,
it's not just a question of presidents. I mean,
right.
We don't have Trump in France, so
yeah.
But we still attacked Syria too, so yay! I guess. Also, The gendarme is a military branch of the police in France. Because yes, we have some of the army is part of the police. It's don't get me started on that. It's just I don't like cops to begin with, but those militaries. But so they were sent to evacuate protesters that are on a natural site where they wanted to build an airport 4 years ago, and the protests have been going for 4 years. It's mostly hippies who have built a little wooden house on the site and all that. And the gendarmes came there with grenades. Yay!
Are you serious? With grenades against?
I am serious. Yeah, no one died that time, but last time they did that, a 19-year-old botanist died.
Question?
Bruce has a question for you.
Were those CS grenades or were those proper explosive grenades?
I don't know how they call in English. They are not explosive grenades, but they're
gas.
It's the grenades that are used in riots.
Oh, concussion grenades.
Yes, concussion grenades. And so there's a lot of injuries because of the shrapnel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, flashbangs and concussion, not stuff that are supposed to be lethal, but if you launch that in a crowd of people, there's going to have injuries and deaths. Like 4 years ago, a young guy, 19-year-old botanist, was killed. And no one went to, no one, they're military, they can do whatever they want. They don't go to prison anyways. So it's the situation here is pretty dire with Macron thinking he's like Louis XIV or something. That guy thinks he is a king. And
this I'm not familiar with. Can you explain that a little more?
Louis XIV was a king, the Sun King, the Roi Soleil. Is the most famous king in France, I think, after maybe Napoleon. But I could say he thinks he's Napoleon too. He's going. The government is going into a lot of reforms of the laws that mostly fuck the poor and they cut part of the students' help fund, and to make up for the loss, they lowered the taxes on the big fortunes.
Right, because that always works to raise tax receipts.
So yeah, but I don't know what people were thinking when they voted for a banker. I mean, a lot of people who voted for him are now, I didn't realize he was right-wing. What the fuck?
It was him or Le Pen, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was probably
at the second turn, yes, but a lot of people voted for Macron at the first round of votes.
Here.
Where there was actual left-leaning people to vote for. Like Mélenchon, that I really don't like, but if you want to vote to the left, you vote for him. You don't vote for fucking Macron, who was a banker.
Yeah. So France's politics sounds similar to like American politics, where it's like we have the far right and like the Democrats who's kind of left. In some people's opinions,
no, the Democrats are not kind of left.
They're center.
They're center.
By the way, you guys hear my storm? Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear the rain.
Just pouring down.
Yeah, so it's pretty shit these days, basically. So
more like topics we're talking about.
Yeah, I was thinking about showing you my face without my teeth to cheer everyone up, but I don't want to.
Oh, no. Your voice cheers me up. Your face would do more, but that's all right.
I'm too lazy to go put on my teeth. Also, I have a wound in the mouth. You know, I don't know how to call it in English. The little wounds that are not very serious, but just annoying on the gums.
Like a sore?
Yeah, I don't know how you call it. Anyways, yeah, no one gives a shit. But I don't want to put on my teeth, so I don't show my face. Is the bottom line.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Yes.
And,
No, not
hold on.
without my teeth. I'm not. I swear. I look like I am 80 without my teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's true. When I take my teeth out and I go into the bathroom and look in the mirror, when I close my mouth, it all scrunches up.
Yeah, exactly.
I look just like a pictures of people, old people that are, they look like they're just angry and,
and grumpy
and scrunched up.
It's pretty funny, actually, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, not like this lovely, radiant, beautiful face I have now.
Yeah,
Wait.
exactly.
Hey, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
And I say everyone is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Em, how are you? You wanna update the audience and what's going on? Things with you?
I was thinking we could go on a really light topic and talk about David Silverman.
There we go.
No, go ahead. Start. I mean, I obviously I'm well versed in the background, so I feel comfortable talking about it. But let's hear your take. You're here, and also give the background to people who might be listening in the future who aren't keeping up with stuff in our timeline.
Well, of course, he's another bro atheist that got caught out. Well, actually, you're probably more adept at explaining this than I am.
Okay, I can do the 30-second. David Silverman, former president of American Atheists, longtime leader of the organization, very well known, probably most famously for his appearance on the Bill O'Reilly show, where he got Bill to say the meme, "Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain
it." Which later became have Neil deGrasse Tyson deemed as God by Stephen Colbert on the Colbert Report.
Oh, okay.
You can't. He's a fucking rapist.
Well, which one?
Yes.
Sorry, we're talking about Bill O'Reilly and his sexual harassment. Oh, okay, yeah, right. So we're getting on with this, yeah. So he sort of had this public persona and a pretty good guy. He had made some good statements after Charlottesville, and made the organization made a good statement after the Krauss allegations came forward. But recently there was a sort of surprise announcement that no one saw coming, that the board had suspended him pending an investigation into financial improprieties. And then apparently the background of this is when that was announced, and the basis of that was some arrangement he had made for his most recent book, as well as the fact that the organization had hired a woman that he was sleeping with. And those things were under investigation. But also behind the scenes, women who had experienced sexual assault at his hands came forward to then tell the board about what they had experienced. And the board set up an independent investigation. This is my understanding of the timeline. So just to conduct an investigation into those allegations separately. And on whatever day it was, I can't remember now, they made a second announcement saying that there had been a unanimous decision by the board that he was fired. And then an hour or so after that, a BuzzFeed article landed that detailed two accounts. One is very unambiguously physical sexual assault.
Rape. He penetrated without their consent. It's rape. Plain and simple.
And the second one, the woman who related the story, in retrospect, when she was, she realized that she was too drunk to consent to the sex that she had with him. And also after they had sex, she had been interested in, she came to a conference to network, to meet people. He took a fancy to her. And then, like I said, she got too drunk and he had taken her upstairs, according to her account. He then told her not to apply for an internship at American Atheist because he would have a conflict of interest. So abusing his position of power again. He has denied it, although the Facebook post that he gave denying it has since been taken down. And yeah, that kind of exploded onto the atheist scene about a week ago now, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
the thing
yeah,
that I found really kind of interesting, I read a FRF on their blog actually. Annie Laurie Gaylor actually posted something about this, which I thought was interesting on a lot of fronts. One, she actually expressed that she wasn't surprised by this because she had a confrontation, I guess, or some kind of incident with him where he basically took her off a panel. I'm trying to find it, but if you go to the Pathos site, you can see this. But what I found interesting was the comments more than anything. You get your people that are basically saying they're gonna stop supporting FRF because of this post, or I mean, it's just really kind of. It really exposes the kind of split there is within the community.
Yeah, I think that there is in my opinion, irreconcilable differences that is driving the progressive and the regressive sides of the atheist movement farther and farther apart. And I am absolutely fine with schism. I'm a schismatic on that topic myself.
Well, it's probably atheism plus that's to blame.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, not the rape apologists who always come out to say bitches lie every time something like that happens.
Or platforming men who engage in sexual harassment, or demanding court of, reasonable doubt before you would even consider an allegation against somebody.
We are not a court of law. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
that's a nice little song.
In that post I was referencing, I did find the part where she says that Silverman is accused of saying to the woman fighting him off, "You don't get to say no to me." She said, however, unfortunately, this rings true to me. I felt bullied while attempting to work with Silverman on Speakers Committee for the Reason Rally. I say attempting because I was summarily booted from the committee he was chairing and denied a voice in planning, but least not before I was able to secure Julia Sweeney speaker, I'm pleased to say. But for writing this, basically, there are people in the comments saying that they're going to not support the FRF.
I'm wondering how long will it take him to just go drift to the side like Smalley did.
Yeah.
Find some supporters on alt-right and stuff like this.
Well, Mrs. Milwaukee already sent him an invitation. No,
sorry.
No, I'm not joking. I think that happens. They reach out to him on Twitter. No.
Well, I know that
they
after
deleted a tweet that was supporting him before it appeared that he was actually sexually harassing people.
Or assaulting or raping. Yeah.
Raping.
Is there going to be a panel with him and Lawrence Krauss, or
right?
Might as well
and
now.
They invited David Smalley, who is a creep too. So
yeah, he's going to be a special guest at that con.
Yeah, there was some stuff circulating about how Smalley treated his co-hosts and wasn't nice.
Yeah,
so he's at least a harasser.
Yeah, I actually posted that on Twitter, and then Smalley went on to Sargon's channel to ebeg because he's in the middle of this Patreon drive where he wants to get to 1,400.
And it worked. He's getting support from the alt-right.
Of course he is, because that's why he went on Sargon's. He went on a known sexual harasser's channel to basically be offended that people were reporting their experiences of sexual harassment with him. Sorry, just to finish up, Bruce. I think I heard your voice, and then I'll jump back in for you.
To what extent would you say this is more of a matter of an academic? Because both of these are academics, are they not, Silverman and Krauss?
Krauss is, I don't think Silverman is. I think he's more been an activist. I don't know that he's got any specialty. I think he's been mostly focused. I'm not aware of any, like he might have a master's, but I'm not aware that he has a
David
PhD.
Silverman is a lawyer, if I remember correctly.
A lawyer?
But it's just that I do recognise that there is some a question really of academic abuse of younger women by academics, by people with this formal authority which has never been really challenged.
I think there's I think there's quite a lot of complaints that have been put forward of professors saying comments or making the workplace unfriendly workplace or a hostile work environment, especially in the STEM fields. Yes. There have been studies about hostile work environments or inappropriate comments and harassment. Yeah.
It does tend to go together, I think. It tends to be the hard scientists who tend to be the atheists, but
yeah, and also the sort of power thing that goes along with being the great man who's the knowledgeable person in the room, and everyone should be sort of in awe of the the Dawkins or the Hitchens or the Krauss in the room. So so that's Silverman, another massive disappointment, and disappointing in seeing the reactions of too many people in the atheist community, basically dismissing credible accusations on something as weak as, well, they were published under the BuzzFeed address, so therefore they must not be credible.
Bitches be lying.
Oh, sorry for the misinformation. He's not a lawyer.
Oh, okay. All right, not a lawyer. All right. No. Yeah. Are you on his wiki page? Does it say what?
Yeah, I just checked it out. He's not a lawyer.
Okay. Does he have a 4-year degree in something?
MBA in marketing and international business advanced graduate.
Okay, so he's got a master's in marketing and business. Yeah, it makes sense in terms of his background for the title or for the position, but then he abused it. So,
I did have another question.
Yeah.
So how was your experience with OrbitCon?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, the panel. So it was generally very good, but it also went super fast. So Stephanie got in touch and said, "Hey, would you be interested in running a panel on finding progressive content?" And I said yes. And then I kind of thought it would be like weeks later. And she's like, "Okay, well, submit your panel proposal here." So she said, "Well, I approached Steve. Steve and I talked about it, and the topic was a little bit narrow. We brainstormed people, like almost everybody joined. One person we invited didn't respond, but that's okay. And then it was like, okay, your panel has been accepted, and the conference is happening in 2 weeks. I was like, oh shit." Hey guys, that panel I was talking about, you free, like not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, because that's when it is. Everyone is really lovely and flexible. The only thing I wish they would have done differently is to create an OrbitCon channel on YouTube and provide people like myself as managers so that we could run Hangouts through that account. That would have, if people wanted to sit through and moderate, that was great. And certainly having somebody who was taking questions was helpful. But I could have run it myself. And I thought, the conversation, I will leave it up to the audience to see what people thought of the conversation that was had.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Well, I felt it was very well run and very casual, very interactive, and it mostly stayed on topic. And so in these kinds of things, when you do when you do these presentations, normally like someone has a topic and they speak to a PowerPoint or they give a 20-minute talk. And I wanted to change the format because I wanted to be more interactive and representative of people's experiences creating content, rather than be a more traditional format. I thought that would be better. So, well,
I was very happy because you answered a question for me.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, and it was I've asked it sort of in a similar kind of questions before, and I'm trying to get a boot in the ass to get going on something. But it was very helpful because there was a lot of detail about things that I really hadn't thought about. But when you guys would say something, I'd say, oh well, obviously. This makes perfect sense. Sit down and write stuff up and figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it.
It's kind of like when you see a practical effect or some kind of thing done in a movie. and then you see how it's done. Like, for instance, we went to the Harry Potter thing and saw how the broomsticks rose up, and they literally like just have a box there with a stick inside of a broomstick, and they just have a lever. Like it's not magic at all. You're like, of course that's what they did. But after watching the movie, it's like, broomsticks can fly.
The magic of green screens.
Yes. So I want to make sure everyone has a chance to talk a little bit before the end of the show. So Marius and also Lonely Wolf, I want to come to you guys in that order to see what kind of things, you want to talk about or bring up for the chat. We've got 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure everyone had a chance to talk.
Yeah, I'll pass. I was a bit active before, and I don't really have any positive stories to tell.
Okay. Well, you're always welcome to jump in with comments and observations.
Yeah, I'll try.
So Lonely Wolf. Well, thank you. Yeah, you and your bird. You want to come on screen? Show us?
The bird, yeah. The birds come to cheer people up.
Oh,
yeah, it's really like because I keep reading that stuff on the Twitter and about people being sort of worried about false rape allegations or whatever, saying she's lying about that, and you see that with the big major MRA movements like Paul Lam, because with that Me Too they're very quick to try to discredit that. And I'm just thinking, the glaring statistic is that, men are more likely to get raped, to be the victim of rape than to be falsely accused of it. So like the priority would be you'd be wanting to look at the victims of it. It's like, I don't understand the logic.
No, that's an excellent point. That where they put their time and energy in terms of what's going to help men, that they're overlooking a massive issue that men face, while also at the same time focusing on the other element of it that will affect fewer men.
Yeah, because I do spend a lot of time. I do talk to Micaiah B a lot on Twitter, and because he's gone through the a year or so on hormones and then the surgery, etc. And one of the things we're sort of talking about is how sort of trans men come to terms with, I guess, the sense of masculinity, and it's sort of I'm gradually trying to make some sort of video in relation to that particular topic. It's a very nuanced sort of thing. It's hard to know where to start, but yeah, we sort of had a lot of conversations about that kind of thing on Twitter, because he's a very good YouTuber, as someone who's very kind of thorough in the academic side, like always really well sourced articles.
Yeah, definitely.
I should read more of Micaiah B's articles, because he just put up a couple of weeks ago about gender identity or gender issues in anime, and I'm looking forward to reading the guy, because I think he did mention one character from Steins Gate, which Steins Gate's an anime that I love, and there was an element in that show that at first I didn't have a problem with, but then after hearing Snake Scarrow Sarah and Gwen No Fear talk about it or Snake Sarah talk about it on her stream with Gwen No Fear, she mentioned of how she had a problem with one element of that show, and now I cannot unsee that. And so
the basics is the anime is really bad with this.
Yes, it is.
There are some good examples. There are a few anime that take the topic of gender identity and go with it quite well, but that's the margin.
Yeah, there's some feminist animes I went to a feminist panel or anime feminist panel at a SakuraCon, and there are some feminist animes, but they're few and far between, and it's not important if anime is feminist or not.
Yeah.
Well, depends. I can't watch most of them because they're too sexist and
there's that too. Yeah.
So go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've never really been into anime stuff apart from I've watched one or two films before, but it's one of those things they had, and because I saw because somebody I saw in a tweet, it was like a because he's actually gay, and he was going to a nightclub for the first time, and he was trying to sort of hook up, and then he saw with his own eyes, someone trying to slip a Mickey into someone else's, and then I think thank God the security got there in time, and. Yeah. And that should be as you said before, instead of thinking, oh, they're all out to, the evil feminists are out to all put us behind bars for rape or whatever. It's like, I think where we need to spend our time is, because it's, I guess, I'm guessing it's probably a problem in the LGBT sort of community, that kind of thing, sort of between men, I guess, would be the like that would be a big red flag that to be explored.
Yeah, it's almost as if the likes of Polylam and MRAs don't give a shit about men's issues, actually.
No.
They're more interested into trying to trigger female rape victims than helping men who need help.
I noticed that the MRAs have a problem whenever you tell them that if you account for prison environment, that in some places men are even more likely to be raped than women.
Yeah,
prison.
Well, do you see it? I almost see it as like, because okay, you have like anti-abortion people, you have TERFs, you have these folks. They all seem to kind of have this ideology that they supposedly believe in, the underneath support, like for abortion, for example. You want to decrease abortions. The best way to do that is provide family planning and birth control, but they don't really want to do that.
Yeah, they just want to control people's lives. They don't want to get rid of abortions because
they want to control women's bodies.
Have abortions in countries that it's forbidden.
But I think there's a common thread in a lot of these. Like MRAs and TERFs and anti-abortion people, the ideology really isn't the central thing. They want to control people.
It's the loss of power that they feel like they've lost over, I guess, women's bodies, women's right to choose, everything like that. And and with TERFs, I guess it's more.
Losing their control inside the feminist movement.
But I guess my point is, if you get down to it, what they're really talking about, like with TERFs, if you're talking about women's safety, there's been no cases of trans people using these laws to get by and safe. I mean, and if you're talking about abortion, it's the same type of thing. If you really are anti-abortion and you want to have less abortions, the best way to do that is birth control and family planning, and that doesn't.
And sex education.
Yes,
not a joke. Real sex education.
But they don't want that. So in the end, I have to think that all these folks, there's an ulterior motive.
It's almost as if they're full of shit. You know, what they want is they want you to say to people, only have kids if you can afford them, and only have kids when you're ready to have them, and don't have premarital sex, and just live the way I think you should. And for people, I would just say, but not everybody will do that, so we should have sex education and birth control for people who don't want that lifestyle. And they're like, but that's the only lifestyle they should have. It really seems like what they were trying to use. They're trying to use social policies in the government to force people to live according to what they think life should be, which is, for women, don't have sex before you're married, then only have sex with your partner, and then only get pregnant when you can afford to have the baby, and then, take time off of work or you're a terrible mother. But if you take time off of work to be a good mother, then you should get punished by having your career, problems with your career, getting forward and catching up. But that's just the cost of being a mother. So we shouldn't try to fix that.
And being trapped in your marriage, even if you are beaten by your husband.
And everyone should be cis-normative, and everyone should be married and stay married their whole lives. And
the Muslims are evil.
Oh, yes. All right, Mariana.
Because Muslims are evil, and want to press Sharia law on everything, on everyone. But no, what we are doing is not
oppressive.
It's not oppressive and not remotely the same.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want Sharia and Muslims because that's our turf. We want to control that.
You can't have Sharia law in America anyways because you can't have a religious government anywhere. So,
but
except Texas.
Optional.
Except Texas
and Alabama and Utah, especially Utah, and a lot of other states.
Yeah. Indiana.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hate to cut it short, but social demands require me to be at a birthday party in 30 minutes.
Christy has a life.
Social
Yes.
demands, and social justice. So the feminist lady's not going back to her 20 cats.
You fake
Actually has
nerd.
something to go to.
Yes.
General fake nerd.
Yes, I am. Everyone address me as General Winters from now on, because that's the title Sargon gave me in his Inquisition video.
I was thinking of calling you the goddess, the goddess empress. You know, because that's
I like that better.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, hey, everyone in the chat, all 20 of you, thanks for stopping by and listening. We appreciate you coming by and saying hi to us. Everybody
Which has
watching.
been mostly good as well. Yeah, like one last thing. Feminists do men's rights better. That was said by Andy.
True. True.
And you two can be in the patron chat next time if you become a patron.
There you go.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you very much for that. All right, guys. Thank you to my awesome supporters. You guys, what we haven't done is figured out the Resistance Fund. So I don't have time. We'll do 2 next month, one for April, one for May. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to brainstorm some good progressive causes that we can use the money for, since I totally forgot to bring it up during the show. And yeah, my patrons are awesome. I really appreciate you guys. And you guys are awesome. I've been Christy, and I think that's when I say goodbye. So goodbye from me and goodbye from everyone in the chat.
Bye.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, Bernie.
Tweet, tweet.
Bye.